Okay, so on Goodreads, multiple places actually. I have heard like the question, if you could live in any fantasy world or just visit any fantasy world, what would it be? And I've heard multiple times, Caraval is the place that people would want to visit or live in, and I could not disagree more. This is not a place I would like to visit, but I would like to talk about, oh, by the way, watch our last video about some more reasons why I didn't love this book. But figured we would go into some worlds, fantasy worlds that we would like to visit or live in.
All right, should I start us off?
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing. I had a really hard time with this for a few reasons.
Me too.
I guess for one overarching reason. When I went through all of the books that I read and that I love, turns out most of the worlds are awful.
Yeah, something horrible's happening in every single
Yeah,
world.
every single one of them. And
Or
I
like
went
they're
back through
being-
them and I'm like, oh, this is, yeah, no, I don't want to do there.
Being ruled by like evil people, or there's
Yes.
destruction and war everywhere.
Right, so I picked 3 that maybe don't sound quite as bad to live in.
Yeah.
But I went through a whole bunch and was like, no, don't want that one.
Same.
No, don't
Like,
want that guy.
so many.
No, not that one. Like it
I was
just
like,
kind of interesting.
no, definitely not. No.
Yeah. So these 3 were survivors, I guess, for me, as they wouldn't be that bad to be here. And I'm gonna start with the quintessential one. This is Harry
Man.
Potter.
Yeah. Why didn't I pick that one?
I don't know, but listen, you're basically living in our world, but with magic. Like you're doing the same thing. Homicidal maniacs. There's homicidal maniacs all over the place, right? Like it happens. But being able to just like flip a wand and repair most of the world's ailments sounds pretty freaking good, actually. So yeah, I think that would be a world I'd be interested to see, to live in, to participate in. I think I could be down with enjoying some Quidditch and Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley and all the rest of stuff that's not in the United Kingdom, right? Like it'd be interesting.
Like the actual high school that you would go to.
Yes, right. Like it'd be interesting to see what that would be like, and honestly, doesn't sound like the worst world to live in.
I agree.
So starting this off nice and easy.
Cute.
Harry Potter is the world.
Cute. Okay, this is Winterkeep. It is part of the Graceling series.
Mm-hmm.
Graceling is not necessarily a world that I would love to live in, but by the time this one comes around, the 4th one, things have like really calmed down and kind of wrapped up and are settled. So you get a tiny bit of Catsa and Poe, you get a little bit of Bitterblue, but this is like kind of a whole different country, I guess, in that world that Bitterblue is wanting to explore and get to know a little bit more about.
Okay.
So it really just follows a person on there. But the real reason I want to live and or be here is because they have like telepathic relationships with foxes. I've never wanted a pet more than I did while reading this book. Like, I want that fox. I would love a fox. Anyway.
You realize that you, if you don't have telepathic ability to talk to foxes, they're probably far less cool.
Yeah, but I would if I lived here.
Fair enough.
Like, really, I think about it all the time.
If you lived here, you could turn into a fox.
Cute. And then like register and stuff. It sounds like a lot of work.
I know 4 examples of those that don't. All right, my next one is this one. This is John Scalzi's Old Man War, which actually is an interesting one because it really kind of sounds like a crappy place to live, actually, in reality. So, quick example, Old Man War is set in the future. It's a sci-fi setting where when you turn 75, you can enroll to go to war, and you go off of Earth to go fight in a war and never able to come back. But the upshot of it is you get a secret serum that makes you a super soldier and back to being basically 20 again. That sounds good to me, actually. It sounds really nice. Get me to 75, and at that point, sure, yeah, I'll take whatever super serum you've got to get me back to being a 20-year-old. And not just 20-year-old, but like the peak of your prime, better than you ever were, 20-year-old. That's a world that I think would be really interesting to live in. I don't think I'd necessarily want to go fight a war about it, but just give me the technology to be young again, and I'm on board.
To be young again. I feel like you're still young, and that's hurtful to old people.
Have you seen all of my gray hair? That's all you're going to see now when you watch these videos.
Maybe the lighting helps you. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it hurts. Anyways, Old Man War.
You could go to Graceling World, get rid of your gray hair, not age or something.
I mean, something. I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, I think this would be an interesting one. Just the technology is interesting. Interesting kind of story and place and just, it's not the worst future I could imagine, I suppose.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
This is Circe by Madeline Miller. I don't know. Like, I'm not huge into, like, Greek gods and stuff. It wasn't, like, my all-time favorite book, but for some reason, I just cannot get her island out of my head. Like, when I was reading it, I could, like, picture myself there. And no, I don't need a farm and I don't need pigs, but, like, just her island sounds so peaceful. Also, she was banished there and by herself most of the time, but, like, all that aside, the actual island she's living on,
All right.
I would be fine. I'd be fine to live there.
A desert island with pigs. I got it.
No, I don't want the pigs.
Oh, okay.
I don't want the pigs.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but it's like one of those, I think about it all the time. It's fun.
Interesting. All right. So lastly, again, there's not a lot of good options here. I just have to say.
Agreed.
So I have Ready Player One, which honestly, the world in this dystopian future doesn't sound great. However, the oasis that is there sounds amazing. And honestly feels like an outcome that I could see happening over the next 50 years, right? They talk about the metaverse and things like that happening. A lot of it, I think, is referring to something like the Oasis, where you're going to be able to witness and feel like virtual reality is equivalent to reality, and be able to participate in a tangible way in some of these fantasy experiences that you care immensely about. Like, I would love to go visit a world that is all Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or any of these, right? All of a sudden, I'm much
just
more
like
interested.
a movie set of
Yes,
a random movie.
right? Like, all of a sudden, I'm much more interested in going and participating in, like it's a video game, if I get to go to one of Brendan Sanderson's cosmeric planets and be a Mistborn. Like, all of a sudden, that sounds way better because it's fake and I can have fun in it just like in any other video game setting. I don't want to live in it, but if I can live in a world where I can experience those things, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good to me. And I hope that we as a society are better than the society inside of Ready Player One, where you have people in the stacks and those type of things, that you would be able to provide better means for people through AI or other things like that in the future. So yeah, I'm down. I'd love to be able to visit and go play around the Oasis. I mean, that omnidirectional treadmill that they run around on and the haptic suits. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of that would be incredibly fun to enjoy.
So fun. That's the ultimate escape. Like,
yeah.
Just leave your reality for a little bit. I love it.
I think it'd be really, really interesting. And it actually kind of makes sense when you kind of think about how people live in trailers or things like that, because all of a sudden, who cares what is around you? What matters is what is.
Does
he
like go to? He goes to school in his.
Yes. Yeah.
In his alternate, like in his other body.
Yep.
That's so cool. Yeah, you don't need anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like going to work. Like I go to work remotely, like most of the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that different, except imagine instead of calling it a Zoom meeting, you're going into a virtual chat room where you can see everybody and maybe feel and touch and see.
You shake their hands as you enter.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that far-fetched to be able to get there, but I think it'd be a really interesting world to be able to participate in.
I agree with that one for sure.
So I'm curious, just off the top of your... Oh, you have one more, sorry. I was cutting you off.
It's because I usually go first, so I'm usually finished first.
Yep, I'm bad.
Court of Mist and Fury. Is that right? Did I get that right? Yeah, okay. This is the second one of A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Okay.
And, like, I don't want to sound cliche or whatever, but, like, this world is actually kind of cool. Just the way they have it split up into the courts. Like, there's a night court, there's a day court, there's a spring court and a summer court and a autumn court.
That map is just Westeros. I'm gonna have to look at this better, but it looks exactly like the shape of Westeros.
Well,
like up here is where the Starks are, and down here is where King's Landing is. And by the way, that would be an awful place to be. I don't want to be in it.
Never.
Anyways,
I'm not going there. I don't know about that. Anyway, these names are cooler than all of those other ones.
So
the powers in each place, the different like functions of each court.
So they literally have different powers in different places?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's really, really cool. And like Summer Court, Dawn Court, it's kind of a good idea, a fun idea. And it makes you kind of like want to know more about the other people that you don't really know very much about. Like you get to know a lot of them throughout the whole series, but it's not like, I kind of want a little bit more like, could you just tell me a little bit more about this one or hang out here for a little bit? And they do visit, or people visit them, so you get to know them and you get to know their different things. But it's a fun. I wouldn't say it's my all-time favorite, but it's just a really fun concept for a world.
Interesting. Be interesting. What would it be like to visit? Like if you all of a sudden showed up there, would you die? Would you have powers? Would you?
No, you wouldn't have powers. You would probably die.
Okay.
Just teasing. In the state it is right now,
I mean,
mortals aren't super welcome here, but they're just fighting.
I mean, that idea of you'd probably die fits most fantasy books.
Yeah,
Like
you
all,
just showed up.
like all of a sudden, I just fell
No,
in
you wouldn't
there,
die.
like,
You would
I'd
become a
die.
prisoner, and I would like choose some courts to be prisoner in over others for sure.
Okay. All right. Great.
I don't know. It's
So,
like I said, pickings were slim,
Yeah,
but this
so-
one it's creative.
so here's my question to
Okay,
leave this off
yeah.
with. What would be the worst world to go to? So I already mentioned one. I think the Song of Ice and Fire world would be pretty awful,
That one sounds real bad.
right? Because unless you
There's
happen
no
to be
winning place to be.
no, yeah, and if you show up there, there's a really good chance you're not the hero. You are just a peon, and you're going to be used to be dragon food,
All the things.
probably.
All the things. You'll be used for all the things.
Right, like I thought the same thing with like the Stormlight Archive. It's like, oh crap, I would be a bridgeman, right? Like
Yeah, I,
I'd
like,
be
walked right past that one, like, no, no, no.
shot, right? Or in Mistborn, I would be you'll have a all powerful tyrant king that is ruling over you. Like like that doesn't sound fun. Like it just there's a lot of them that are just bad. I'm trying to think of the absolute worst one. That would be the one I would least want to be in.
I mean, Westeros does sound.
Westeros is pretty awful.
I'm trying to think of like all the ones where I was like, no, 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 no. I think it was just because I didn't love those series. But the worlds, I don't know. It is like weird to think too, because I got to like fiction just to like make sure I wasn't missing. I just kind of looked through a few of my fiction ones. I was like, wait, World War II did happen. Oh, that is America. Like that is where we are. So it is sad to think that
Some of those bad things are actually
they
reality.
do happen here.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, that's a random tangent.
Well, this is the saddest video we've ever filmed.
No, these places are cool.
Oh, sorry.
It's not sad.
It is kind of sad, actually.
No.
These are the happy ones. But each one are immensely flawed. At least mine. Like, there's some real flaws in these worlds.
Same.
Right? But maybe that's what makes things compelling. Like, as you're reading it,
Right.
if there was a world that was just perfect, the stories that would be told there would probably feel so inauthentic, but also there's just there's no ability to have heroics without people overcoming something.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think maybe that's the moral of the story here is the setting sometimes being awful is the right place for us to be able to participate in that heroic journey that's going to happen.
I like that thought.
Yeah. So I guess maybe as you're thinking about it, if your current setting is awful, you're just in the middle of your heroic journey.
Cute. And pick up a book and escape.
Yeah. To a worse place?
No.
Oh.
Just escape. Escapism is escapism.
Sure.
That's my tactic.
Fair enough. I mean, maybe it's the tactic is you read about a worse place and realize you don't actually have it all that bad.
That's a good point.
Anyways. Well, this is a depressing video.
Yeah,
I'm
it
Blake.
got sadder and sadder by the minute. I'm Jamie.
And we're Blamie.
I guess so.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.